Hello, this is Bruce Herwig, and we are going to be looking at Lightroom, be editing some of the photos that I took at the field trip to Tio's Tacos. Thanks to Mike Livingston for setting that up for us. That was a really fun place. Great participation. But just thought I would just walk through my workflow. The only thing I've done right now in Lightroom is load the photos, but I did want to show you my hard drive and where I stick these things. So I stick my photos in a folder called Photos. Very easy to, very easy to find. And I have I've found over the years that I shoot in distinct groups of topics. So Redlands is a big topic for me. Astrophotography is a big topic for me. Family, all my iPhone photos go in there. And then I have everything else. So just what I've told you. Where do you think that the photos from Tio's Tacos go?
Redlands Camera Club.
That was by location.
Mm.
So that would be everything else. So if it was in Redlands, it would be in Redlands. This is everything else. So I have it by year. Here's 2026.
Mm.
Then everything I took here is by dated by month. So 26/2, 26/2, 26/4. So it's in the order that I took it. So here we go, 26/7. I don't need to, I found I used to put the day, but I find out that I don't take it. So here's all my photos, and they're waiting to be synced to be saved. All right, then I stuck them into Lightroom. And Lightroom can, for a lot of people, can be very confusing. And as you have questions, feel free to pipe up and say, ask your question. This isn't, this is supposed to be interactive. I'll just keep going until you ask me a question. But library, develop, map, book, slideshow, print, web. I mean, this is so confusing. Good news is all you need is these two.
You need to share your screen,
Oh,
Bruce.
not share my screen? Well, all of that showing didn't do again any good. Share my screen.
Aha, there we are.
Ha 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 ha. Sharing my screen. Okay, just to go back to the drives. So here's my photos. I stick all my photos in a photos folder. Redlands,
Ah,
family, astrophotography, iPhone. This is by location. So everything else. Here's my 2026 folder and everything down over here, Tio's Tacos. So put the year, the month, where it was, who I took it with. So if I was with so here I was up at Lake Arrowhead, 4th of July fireworks. So I could look this up just by the location. So Lake Arrowhead, I could look up by the 4th of July. I could look it up by the year. I could look it up by just in the title. So I don't have to do a lot of very specific, I can find my photos very, I don't have to do a lot of metadata stuff. It's already built right in. So there are my photos. So in library and develop, you could ignore all this map book stuff. Just just don't even look at it. It's not even there. Library and develop. Library, really the only thing you're doing in library is it's showing you your photos that you've already imported. So to import a new batch, import, select a source. So my workflow is I take the photos off the chip and I put them where I want them. So I know exactly where they are. Then I can open up the source and just import. I've already done that. That's why they're in. But to get them in, some people take it off their chip and then they had the Lightroom send it different places. I find that very confusing. I stick it where I want it first and then import the photos. And then here are my photos. And I can hide, I can get a little bit more screen room. If I go over here, fit this here, I can shrink this down just a bit if I want, open up a little bit more space. I'm just editing on my laptop. So I have 183 photos. That was a question that somebody asked. How many photos do you have? So clearly I'm not going to edit all 183. And somebody had asked, how many topics did you take? Well, here for an example, I've got a toucan. I've got several pictures of the toucan.
Mhm.
Like, aha. Well, does that count as one or what? Well, it's one of the 83. We'll start editing. Yeah, we'll start editing here. So as I'm looking through, what I've got to do is take this 183 and I've got to narrow it down. So I'm looking here. If I like it, I'm gonna start at the beginning. All right. Do I like the photo? If I like the photo, I'm gonna give it a 3. And I just hit that number 3. And you can also give it a 3. It gives it a 3 stars. And that way it's just an easy way for me to quickly identify photos that I want to edit later. Some photos are just bad. I don't like, I don't like the photo. It's just a bad photo. I don't want it at all. What happened here? I need my, it filtered somehow. Go back to develop.
Hey, where's my
Come again? Who's there? So if I have two photos that are the same or similar, I'm going to just pick one of those or not pick it at all. So in this case here, this is similar to that one. I like the higher angle there. I'm going to give that a 3. This one versus that one. Boy, I really cut off the top of the Tio's tacos. I don't like that. Give that a 3. All right. Just see this a little bit better. Nope, don't like that. Ah, okay. That has some promise. Just seeing what's there. I like those. I like those. I like the close up here. I like the. Those are the same. Give one a 3. Oh, that's interesting. I like that. Good. I like that. Those are. So you can see I was attempting to try to get something.
okay, where the heck is my
Who's that? Go ahead and mute. Mike, you can mute people as well.
Yeah, I'm doing that as
All
needed.
right. But feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions. All right. I like that. This was just a weird angle of large breasted something. So all right. I like this close up. Give that a 3. So what's nice is I can just click on this 3 here and it'll only show me my 3s. So that's a real handy, once you narrow down. I like that. I like that. Oh, that's good. There we go. Except
Mm-mm-mm.
blurry. My shutter speed wasn't fast enough. So I had the wrong camera setting. Here we go. Same picture, better camera setting. So I will un-3 that. That's going from a 3 to a 0. I'll now give that a 3. So this was the trying to get Tracy was going to model for me. See what I've got there. The idea's right. I'm not sure if I can what I can do with this mirror because it's so bright. I'll give that a 3. And then Linda, we were talking about that chair there.
Yeah.
All right, so let's pretend that these are the photos that I want to edit. Well, raw means basically everything is flat. Uh, Flat meaning when you take a JPEG in your camera, it's doing some editing for you. If you edit with your phone, it's for sure doing editing for you. In this case here, it's relatively flat. Everything you can see here is in the center. All of the settings are in the center. So it's our job to move these around. And the primary things that we're going to be looking at here are exposure. So if you don't know what a slider does, move it all the way to the right. Oh, that makes it brighter. What happens if I go to the left? Oh, well, that makes it darker. Okay, so I got exposure. What does contrast do? I don't know. Oh, all right, makes it right. Changes exposure. Highlights. Highlights are they're not quite whites. They're in the middle between whites. Shadows, whites. And so you'll just get to know these over time. You can't mess it up because you can always put it back. And the way that you put it back is you just double click on the title and that'll put it back. So I'm going to take a look at this sun face over here. I'm going to increase this exposure and I'm going to pull back on the highlights. Pull back on those highlights. I like a little dehaze that kind of thickens up the colors. You can see what that did here to the blues. I'm going to open up the shadows. Open up the shadows means make it more shadowy. Well, what happens here when I open up the shadows, it really then, the background, you can see the background. That's not what I want to see. I want to see only the chair, right? That if I show the background, that is now a distractive element. So I'm going to put that down over there. We don't have much whites here. Blacks. We don't need to change the black point at all. Could I warm this up? So I warm this up by choosing the color. That's interesting. I used for my camera settings, I was on auto white balance, so the color should be pretty good as is. And then I want these relatively straight. Now there's a couple of ways to straighten things. I can move them around over here in the crop tool. That's one way to make things straight. If I scroll down, you'll see there's lots of options. Most of these options I'm going to totally ignore. But here's a transform tool, and here's an auto upright. Let's see what happens when I click this. Ah, that works well. Or if I know I want this guided, I can draw little lines here, and that'll make it perfectly straight for me. Uh, you'll often hear in competition, they talk about the horizon. This is something over here. If I know that something is straight, for example, if I knew that that was straight, it could make that piece straight for me. Now, didn't work with this photo because it was, I don't know what this was. It was sitting at the table at an angle. All right, so if I was going to do this, I could go ahead and just crop this out. Now I can crop it to taste, to manual taste, or I could pick if I knew that I wanted a 5:7 or a certain angle, I can go ahead and pick that over here in the aspect ratio. Most of the time I just crop to taste. All right, and then I'm going to look at it full screen. I like that. This little area over here, see how it's called, see how it's too bright? That's called blown out. All right. So what can I do? Even if I bring this all the way in, the exposure all the way down, there's no pixels there. I just can't do anything with it. So I could go in and clone it, fix it, and this is where I'm going to use my AI tool, cleaning tool. I'm going to go over here to, this is the remove tool over here. And it has a kind of like a little eraser. And I'm going to highlight in here. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on remove. So it's just looking at that area and it's going to clone it out.
Wow.
And yeah, not too shabby. I'm going to go ahead and clean this area here. It brought it in a little, it cleaned it up, it fixed it a little bit too much. There we go. I like that. So now that distractive element is now gone. So I like that. And then let's see, am I going to give it a little bit of punch up the colors a little bit? Maybe just a hair. All right, so I like it. Okay, I've edited a photo in Lightroom. Questions? Go ahead and unmute yourself. None, none, none. All right, let's see. Jim and I were in the chapel area over here. All right, so we got to see. So I'm opening up the exposure, which means make it brighter. I'm lowering the highlights, opening up the shadows, maybe. If I open up the shadows, I want more contrast. I'm going to bring in the blacks, maybe some vibrance here, and hand holding it so it wasn't necessarily perfectly straight. All right, oh, here's a good example of when I would use, I know that this table over here, that was perfectly straight. One of these was perfectly straight. So I could go to this crop tool, use the angle, and I'm going to go with this table. All right, I'm perfectly straight. That looks crooked. All right, I'm going to go over here, use that. All right, now I'm perfectly straight. Everything's straight. I like straight. Judges like things straight. And again, this isn't would I put this photo in a competition? Not necessarily, but I always have that in the back of my head. Maybe I would give that a 3. All right, so we were in here, in here. I was shooting up and down, just trying to see what the angles were. Going through, here's a detail. Ooh, I like that one. I like that detail. So I'm going to give this a 3. And I'm going to open up the exposure. Going to bring down the highlights. So notice if I blow out the highlights, blow out again means making it too white. I can't see any of the detail here. So lowering the highlights helps you bring out the detail. Now, if I lower them too much, it makes it look a little bit browner, darker. That's called too muddy. So I still want, I still want my whites to be whites. I like this. I like the contrast here. All right, I'm going to make her straight. We've got the angels singing. If I look at my crop tool here, if you remember the rule of thirds, all right? Poop, poop, poop. All right, she's right now on the rule of thirds, so I like that. So my composition is balanced. Is good over there. And then what do I want to do? What if I do the shadows? So I bring those shadows down. That puts the emphasis more on her. What if I want to darken this side over here? Well, I can take a one of my tools, brush tool. I can take a brush tool and I'm going to make a big brush here. And I'm going to paint this over here. And I'm going to paint around the lady because our eyes are drawn to what's sharpest and what's dark and what's brightest. So I can subtly move your attention even more so to this lady by bringing the exposure down. And I can reverse that, bringing that same brush. And now I'm going to paint that, just that little person, and bringing that exposure up. I like that. So let me see if I want to give it a little bit extra vibrance. But again, that's punching up the color. That's good. I'm going to go ahead and tilt it a little bit more. I like it. I like the juxtapose with the green and the colors. Again, is this going to be an award-winning photo? No, but is it representative of what we saw? Oh yeah, sure is. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions as I'm going through. All right, we're looking at the bottle. Ah, okay. Here's was a natural lighting that was happening, broken down through it was a different building, but now we have some of this spider web. Oh, that has some possibilities. So I'm going to bring up the exposure so I can kind of see what's there. I like that. I'm going to bring down the highlights. Yep, brought that in. I'm going to crop here just to emphasize more of those cobwebs. Bring down my blacks. And I'm going to then paint again. We're here on the left and on the right. Bring down the exposure, bring down, make it even more. Oh, ho, ho, now we're looking good. And then I'm going to pop up the color. Ah, that's good. All right, I like that. Now I can also look at sharpening up. Sharpen is or one of the one of our tools over here is where is it? Texture. So let me go over here and I move the texture. All right, just gives a little bit more micro contrast, which I like. We need that on the spider web. Make that stand out a little bit more. I think the below it's a little bit too dark. Now, who thinks this would be maybe good in a black and white?
Mm.
That might be interesting. All right, but I just did all this work in color. I don't want to mess that up. So what can I do? Well, Lightroom has a nice little thing, make a virtual copy. So I'm going to right mouse click on the photo and I'm going to create a virtual copy. It keeps all of my settings. You can see here all the settings on the left, all the settings here, they're the exact same. But now I can make changes to this side and this one won't change at all because it's a brand new copy. But it's not taking twice the room on the hard drive. That's the beautiful thing. You're not making a duplicate on your hard drive. There's still only one raw file, but it now has two color editing profiles, which is awesome. So here's my black and white. This is, okay. Do I want the background to show or not? I'm just going down, moving down, looking at those images. Do I like one of these? Oh, I can do the sepia tone if I wanted. That's interesting. The infrared, I like that. I like, typically I like punch, but that brings too much white. High contrast there. I'm going to try that. Bring the exposure down. Maybe for this particular image,
Mhm.
bring the crop down. Too much on the top. Okay, now here's my color. Here's my black and white. Color, black and white. I know, I like the color one. I think I'm gonna go with color on this. I like the details. I like the texture. This is good. Okay, now does anybody see this image? This that right here. This is what
Mhm.
we call a distractive element. So again, I can go back in here. I don't need this first one, which is um, remove. That uses AI. This heal just uses this a different part of the picture. So I could use the heal tool, click. Oh, maybe that does. Maybe I'm using the wrong thing. Maybe it's this one. Click. There we go. Just using, it's just sampling part of the picture. So I just took that. To me, what was it? Just, it grabbed my eye. And so I'm looking at that. This row over here is grabbing my eye as well. I'm just going to clean that up using AI. Again, and when I say AI, I'm just using, this is the same thing as using the clone brush in Photoshop. It's not using AI. I'm not inventing new pixels. It's using the pixels that are around it. I didn't say put in a fairy sitting right there. All right. Those guys, I thought they would be better, but they just ended up being flat cardboard boxes.
Hmm.
And so they weren't as fun as some of the other the 3D characters that we had that were made here. Okay, so you can see here I'm starting. I've got to bring these whites are too bright. They were in the sun, so I'm going to bring those down. I'm going to open up. I'm going to dehaze a little bit. Again, dehaze solidifies it. It makes the colors a little bit more solid. I like that view a lot. I'm going to open up the shadows here all the way, bring in the blacks, get a little more contrasty. This might be a good square crop. So I'm going to my crop aspect ratio. That's 1:1. That's a square. Look at that full screen. Yeah, I like that. So give that a 3. All right, so this was my close, medium, wide. So same area of focus, just 3 different perspectives. So let's see. Got Jesus over here. I'm going to go back to down to our guide over here. I'm going to transform. I'm going to auto square it. I like that. Sometimes when you auto square it, it cuts things off down there. So I'm going to un-auto square it. I'm just going to undo. See, I had room, and this is one of the bummers about shooting too tight on something. It's nice to give it a little bit extra room. So I may just try to manually, yeah, that's not going to work so hot. Let me go with a guided fix and see if I can get that to work. So guided, meaning I'm telling it where the levels are rather than having the computer guess for me. Because we know this is relatively square. All right, so I doing it that way, I saved the bottom. Ha ha ha, I didn't cut it off. So that was good. Going back to my edit tools here back at the top. I'm going to give it a little contrast. Yeah. Now if I give it too much contrast, that's kind of fake. Too less contrast, it needs a little something right in there. What if I open up the shadows? Yeah. Opening up the shadows here is making it too gray. So maybe I'll actually close close the shadows, and that gives it enough contrast and give a little bit of vibrance. That gives the colors a little bit more punch. All right, I like that. Give that a 3.
Bruce,
Yes.
I noticed that you don't use saturation, you use the vibrance. Is there a reason for that, or?
Gotcha. Vibrance versus saturation. Yes, there is a difference. Let's go back over here. Vibrance, well, first off, saturation, I'm switching it all the way over to the right. Uh, does every single color in the whole thing. And and we're going to do the same thing with vibrance. Vibrance does it a little bit softer and not in all of it's not as an awkward. It's not as awkward, if I can put it that way. So typically just a little bit of vibrance will bring some of that color back. Saturation, use at your own risk. Not the best explanation, but that's what I've noticed. Beginning photographers oftentimes go heavy-handed on the saturation because they think it gives them a lot of color, but it does. All right, this was I'm going to move on to this guy. I like this a lot. Now, I knew I was getting too close. I was cutting off his dangling things. So I'm backing it out. All right, I'm going to use that one. I'm going to give that a 3. If I'm not mistaken, I took this same shot earlier, but it was from the other side. See if I can find that. Nope, don't know where that one is. Can't remember it. That was hysterical. These little cartoons. This was Eve tempting Adam. So again, opening up the exposure, bringing down the highlights, again, which brings in the detail. Here, if I have the highlight here, she notice it's just flat. If I bring down the highlights, it brings in the detail. Same with exposure. Bring in the blacks, bring in some contrast, open up the shadows, just makes it even over here. And I can crop it. Boom. I like that. Give it a little bit of vibrance. Just a little bit. I want those blacks. I want those blacks a little bit blacker. So I can bring in the shadows here. Okay, but what I didn't like on the bottom, I liked when I brought up the shadows, it made it eat more even on the bottom. So I'm gonna drop the shadows and I'm just gonna give a linear gradient. So this is just like a brush. It's just in a line. So it's less on top, more on the bottom. And I'm just gonna bring that up a little bit. And now I've got my even all the way around. Like that. Aha. So this was our group standing in line. Oh, I did edit my food picture, Mike.
There
I like
it
that
is.
a lot. Now this lettuce is in the way. So this is where I should have physically taken that piece of lettuce and moved it. But since I did not do that, let's see what happens if I tell AI to fix that for me. I have no idea what it's going to do. Not too shabby.
I'm impressed. I did not expect that.
I didn't either, but I like it. So it left this little green thing. So I'm going to use AI again in that same spot. Here, 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 and there. Take that little distraction out. Remove it again. So again, this is just like using the clone tool in the olden days, but I don't
Mhm.
have to go to Photoshop to do it. I can stay inside of Lightroom. So when I say the olden days, I'm talking like last year when you had to open things up in Lightroom. Um, that is not too shabby. You could sell a
Yeah,
taco or two. Dude, we got a winner there.
very nice.
Okay, so what if I've got let me edit this photo because I got two of them. One's here, Tracy's over the, Tracy's walking. All right. So this is a great handy dandy thing that I'm going to show you next. All right, we're going to edit this photo. Again, is it an award-winning photo? No, but it's perfect for what I'm going to show you here. All right. All right. Oh man, I'm opening this up. I'm losing all kinds of detail here. Shadows. I want to open up the shadows. Okay. Um, Dehazed kind of punches things up. Good. Give a little bit of vibrance here. We know that this line is straight on the top and it's already straight. So that means that this awning is um, crooked. I'm not gonna, I can't fix the architecture because that's what it is. I can darken this side up because the left side was in the shade. The right side wasn't. So I can give that a little bit more. Oh, that's too much over there, but I can then subtract. Haha. When you make your um, brush, if I hit the, I'm on a Mac Option key, I can subtract out pieces as well. I can only add and subtract. Ha ha ha. Okay, nice, nice, nice. I want a little bit more. I want it open in, I'm going to use a linear brush. I want this inside of here. I want that a little bit more brighter. That's good. But I want that bottom sidewalk. I want that a little bit more darker. So I can do that with a brush. Again, I'm just going to go back here, click plus, click brush, and I'm just going to scribble, 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 and bring that in. Okay, good. All right. So let's pretend this is the most perfectly edited photo I've ever done. I love it. Now, this one over here, I want to do the exact same thing to it. Do I have to go back and redo all of that step by step? And the answer is no. Here's the beautiful thing. You select the first one with all of your edits on it. I'm going to hold the Shift key, hit the second one, and now I can sync. And I'm going to sync all of my basic items over here. I'm going to also, those masks that I put on, remember the top and the bottom, all those masks? I'm going to include the masks since the photo is in the exact same area. And what do you know? Exact same. One, two. This will save you hours, especially if you're on a tripod or if you have similar settings under similar lighting. I can just take this exact same setting. Well, what if I want to apply it to these ones too? I can do that exactly. Sync, but I don't want to include the masks since those masks are different, but I want all those basic adjustments. Okay, it gave me a starting spot. It's a little bit dark. Open that up. This is crooked here, this line over here. So I'm going to go to my auto align, see what happens here. Auto. Haha. Good. Bring that in. Jim, do I want to cut off your got a good picture of your butt there, Jim? There you go. Haha. Gotcha. Boom. All right. I like that. So that could show that what we did at the taco place. What about these settings? I got these tacos over here.
Bruce, can
Yeah.
you? Yeah, I was having a problem with my mic before, so I apologize for this late question. Basically, when you were removing that piece of lettuce,
Yeah.
and you use the generative AI remove, is that
Yep.
correct?
I did.
Yeah. How come, I didn't see it pop up and give you three different choices after it did the remove? That's something I really love when it happens because I can select number one, number two, or number three.
You're talking about generative
Yeah,
creation, not generative remove. So if I was to type in And I can't do that here in Lightroom. I can't create something.
Uh-huh.
This is just like using the clone tool.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like there's a difference between this and the Lightroom that I am using because I'm not using Classic. I'm using the one that syncs
okay,
through the cloud, regular Lightroom, and it's, I noticed some of the things you were doing. The panels are a little bit different, behave
right.
a little bit differently. So
I
nobody ever
only,
talks
yeah,
about
I
that.
only use Classic, and I'm not familiar with anything that shows me three except when I'm in Photoshop and I'm actually creating something different.
Yeah, Lightroom non-classic does show you that.
Okay. Yep.
Hmm.
So let me show you again the sync real quick. Here are unsynced. I'm going to take this one setting that I like. I'm going to hold the shift key down. I'm going to go so I can do more than one at a time, and I'm just going to sync all those. I'm not going to do any of those masking. Oops, I went the other way around. Here, here, sync, synchronize, boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
That actually may be a better one. Got this distractive element. So that is if you haven't synced before, that is a handy thing to know about. That was worth the price of admission as well. All right, here's a self-portrait using, so I'm looking and seeing, do I have a better smile? No, they're all the same, so it doesn't matter. All right, I'm gonna bring that down, bring this up, open up the shadows, bring some contrast back in, get some vibrancy on that, crop out some of the elements of the distractive elements here. Not bad at all. Okay. Now this is a little bit, what are my settings here? ISO 1250. I don't, I did not need to be at f11 for this for this shot over here. But you can see that there's lots of grain and lots of noise in this shot. So I can actually fix that by going down here in the little denoise. So I'm going to check that. This is using a generative, or it's using an AI denoiser. So it's going through the whole photo, processing it, and it takes a little while. Whoa, already I can see that it's better. I can make more denoise, less denoise. Usually I like about 40%. That's kind of my go-to. Now this background, that's kind of distracting, but I'm not really sure I can, go through all these butterflies and mask it out that way. Let me see if I can select the background. It selected everything, including myself. That's funny. That wasn't it. How is there an easy way to get just the back there? How about the subject? What if I select the subject? Select the subject. Is it going to pick the, oh, just me? Nope, that didn't help at all. All right, I'll do it the old-fashioned way. I'll fake it. I'll just use the brush over here. Try to even that out a little bit. Remember, because it's looking at the whole photo, and I just want to darken. There we go. All right, just again brings the focus a little bit more on me. There's a piece of dirt on the mirror. So I'm going to fix that up. Take that off my beard. And voila, fixed. All right, fun little self-portrait. gonna go back to these guys. So I'm looking for the one with the most amount of hair. All right, that one I think might be it. Yes, I actually got it. Oh, good. So I'm gonna come in. And this one over here, I'm going to look at the exposure. Oh, there's Mike. Is that Mike? Is that you in the back? Haha, there's Mike. So I can reduce the highlights, bring up the exposure. Now notice that the dehaze is dropping Mike's. Mike is a distractive element in my photo. What happens if I say select the background? Ha ha ha. I can drop that almost.
Yeah.
All right. So what could I have done? Sure, what should I have done? Instead of trying to edit this in Photoshop, I should have said, Mike, can you step out of the way for a minute? Or waited patiently until he passed. But in the meantime, I've got a good picture of Mike in the background. There you
Yeah.
go.
Everybody needs one.
That's right. We do. We all need that. So then, is there a better picture of Mike in the background? The one way to find out, I can take those same settings with zero extra effort and sync them. Ah. And then I can bring the exposure up. Let's see. Did I lose my settings over here? I think I did. Yeah, they're similar enough where this one, Mike isn't blocked. What about this one? He's still there. I don't know what you're doing, Mike. Ah,
I'm hard to get rid of. Ask my
all right.
wife.
Bring that over. I like this sculpture so much. There we go. Pop that out. I'm moving the color temperature. Sometimes when you dehaze a little much, it moves to yellow. Add some yellow, so I'm taking that back out. And there, and I like that. I'm gonna keep that's my keeper there. All right, let's go to one that I had a little bit. Oh, here's the same thing. This was the exact same guy, but look, I was from the other side.
Hmm.
So I looked, can I edit this one? See, it's just very difficult to recover any of those colors. Yeah. So being on the other side was the better idea. So shoot the front, shoot the back. I didn't realize it was going to be the exact same. So I like the back over there. Okay, I'm looking at these two. I like this angle, so I'm gonna edit that one. I'm gonna give that a 3. I'm gonna bring down the highlights, bring up the exposure, dehaze a little bit, shadows, bring those shadows up, bring some contrast back in, give me some little bit of vibrancy. That's way too much, right? That's like bleh. Just a little bit of vibrancy over here. And I'm gonna bring a radiance over here. And then you've heard just sometimes they say, oh, you should put in a vignette. Well, here's a nice little easy way to do that. Down on effects, it has a vignette. So I can that just darkens the corners just a little bit, brings the focus to the middle. I don't want to crop this at all. I got maybe too much on the back end. I don't want to lose the hat. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Give that a 3. Okay, let's pretend. I mean, we're coming up on 8 o'clock, so we've got 10 more minutes. But let's pretend I was all done. I can just go ahead and say, take all my 3s. All right, so am I going to do the color and black and white? I'm just going to export the color. So what I would do here is I still want to keep it because I like it. You know, I spent time editing it. I'm just going to drop it to a 2. So I'm going to I'm going to give it a 2 stars over here by clicking on the number 2. But since I have 3 stars selected, it automatically disappeared. That's nice. So if all of my photos are here, I didn't lose it. All the photos are still here. If I wanted to go look at the 2s, you know, from everything that's greater equal to 2, that shows. But I want to go only my 3s. Still got to edit this one. This is going to be a toughie. Let me just try to edit this real quick. Give it a little saturation over there. Let me try to get the background. Oh, that's interesting. I can bring that down. That's good. It left her alone. Bring up the shadows just for her. That means she's the subject. So I can go here, select the subject. And again, this is AI picking the subject. It didn't, gonna give her there. Yeah, this one isn't even worth, this is too difficult. There's too much things wrong with it to, you know,
Yeah.
see. It's like, it's not even worth it. So I'm gonna drop that from a 3. I'm just gonna drop it. I don't want to, you know, I'm done with it. Done, done, done. I'm gonna give it a 0. Not even
Ah,
worth it. This one though, I like a lot. Let's try this. Dehaze, open up the shadows, bring in some contrast back. This, I'm gonna give myself a radial brush. Drop the exposure. I need to do something there. Open up the highlights, maybe? No, drop that. It's too dark. Maybe the whites. What if I drop the whites? No. Give it some. Ooh, yeah, I can change the color a little bit. Nope, don't, that doesn't help. I want this relatively natural. Add some blacks. Exposure. Maybe it's in the wrong spot. Let me just try some spot. Or the item is just kind of painting over. Oh, that's better. Just gonna draw in where it is too dark. All right, I like that one. 3. Okay, so here's my 3. I'm gonna go from the right, uh, from this one to the right. Those are all the ones that I'm gonna select. So I'm gonna select these. I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to export. Export. I'm gonna export. Guess what it's gonna do? Export. It's gonna bring up this dialog. Now, where do I save these? Well, remember how I have a very clear path of when I showed you my photos, everything else, 2026, Tio's Tacos. Every single photo, my best, I'm gonna consider these, everything that I've selected here are my best photos. So I put them in the same folder as their original photos in the best. So everything that's edited here, here's my big Morongo photos. I don't know if I saved any of these things yet. Yep, there's my
Mm-hmm.
best folder. One one photo. My San Diego skyline. There's my best. So I know where my best photos are. They're in the same folder as the original. So I don't have to have a new way. Oh, this was from our field trip that we took, that we did with the flying dress. That was amazing. But my best folder is the same. And I do that right here in the export. Same folder as the original photo. Put it in a subfolder called best. I'm not renaming it, keeping it the exact same name. So that way, if I ever need to find the raw file, they're the exact same. I'm saving it as a JPEG. I'm giving it a quality of 85. That means the file size isn't going to be so large. It'll save a little bit on the file side. And there's some options over here. I check on the sharpen for screen. I go ahead and include all the metadata. And then I'm going to export those. And I have the box checked that once it's done exporting, it will open up that folder so I can immediately post on social media.
Wow.
Ta-da! So this actually, I'm going to show these photos here. This is not a little bad collection. I like them. Okay, so there we go. We took the photos off the chip, put them in the folder, opened them up in Lightroom, edited, we went down and selected. So I have some more to edit, for my other threes that I'll look at, and I'll go ahead and edit those separately and see if one of these, and then figure out which one I'm going to post to the blog. And bring parks down. Nope, nope, nope. Raise exposure. Oh, this is going to be a rough one. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not behaving right. Background. Ah, there we go. So let me treat that separate than the front. And we'll see how that works. So to be TBD, to be continued.
You're a good salesman for Lightroom. My workflow, I have historically taken my images directly into Photoshop only because that is the tool I was using when I was working and what I was most familiar with. But watching what you do and comparing that with what I do looks so much easier in Lightroom than in Photoshop.
Especially if you can imagine somebody who's shooting under similar lighting conditions. Let's say you're shooting out in a flower field, lighting hasn't changed. Boy, you edit that one really well, and then whoop, you got most of your photos edited, and then you're just making tiny tweaks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're picking the best of the best of the best. That's what I want to post. The best of the best of the best. So I'm going to look at those photos. I'm going to figure out what is the sharpest, what has the best, maybe what my favorite. Again, that's another way of saying it. What are my favorite ones? That's what I want to share. So we're learning about Lightroom. Shoot, we took some great photos at on our field trip. Edit, we're editing here in Lightroom, and now I'm going to post them and share them. So we've got that full 4 level workflow that we promote here at the Camera Club.
Very nice.
So it's 8 o'clock.
Thank you.
Our hour's up. Any last questions for me?
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Very
it.
much.
Can I ask you a couple of
Thank
questions?
you.
Please do.
Okay, so sorry, I do have a couple. First one is, do you calibrate your screen?
I have a Mac laptop, and it's calibrated to my phone, and to all other Macs. So no, I do not.
So did you calibrate them together, or are you distinct because you have all Apple products?
They're all that way.
Okay, perfect. Because I noticed when I have a MacBook Pro and I have an iPhone, but when I edit on my MacBook and then I export and send it to my phone, the coloring, the brightness, all that is always off.
Yeah, usually that has to do with, mostly it's with brightness. Just, because your phone,
Yeah.
your screen, I try to put it at midpoint, and You'll
So
brighten
that was
it.
my next question. What do you edit at? Because I've heard you should edit around like 80% of brightness on your screen, not at 100, not at like 50. So I was wondering how bright your screen is when you're editing.
I well, let's see. Let me share again. Ashley, yes, this will be up on our YouTube channel. Let's see. So my brightness, if I click on brightness, so I'm right a little bit more than half.
Okay.
So if
Okay.
I go too bright, I mean that just seems way too much.
Yeah. I usually go about 75% myself, but
Yeah.
again, I don't know if that's, preference from people that I've learned from or if that's just appropriate or what.
I'm just
Um,
one tick up from bright.
Okay. And then my last question for you is on your cropping. I noticed the picture of your bottles, which I love, by the way. That one, it looked like you cropped in quite a bit on that.
I sure
And
did.
I don't know, do you I know you post on social media primarily, so that's not a big issue, but I have trouble when I crop in that much. I end up with like a 1 megapixel image where if I go to try to do anything other than screen with it, it just, it's too low res. Do you run into that? If like, do you ever have an image where you have to crop in to get the composition you want that maybe you didn't get out on in field or in camera, and then you're like, man, I really want to print this? Do you do the whole like, pixel recovery upscaling thing, or
Yeah,
how do
there's
you handle
here I
that?
could double. I could use a right here in Lightroom. They have the super resolution.
Okay. Do you typically yourself run into that and use that, or do you just, because
Yes.
there's times where you just can't get as close as you want. So it's like,
Yeah,
don't take the
absolutely.
picture or take it and crop it and lose,
Yep. The other way is to edit it in Photoshop here.
okay.
And while you're asking, I might as well bring it in. Edit here in Photoshop. So it's bringing it from Lightroom into Photoshop.
Okay.
And Photoshop has these handy dandy neural networks. Where do they go? Camera raw, denoise, sharp.
Should be
Yeah,
under
where is it?
filters.
I'm close. Neural filters. Do I have to select
It's
it
not
first?
displaying.
I don't know why it's gray. There we go. Maybe I have to select it first. Neural filters. And they have a handy super zoom over here. So I can zoom it 1 times, 2 times, 3 times, remove any JPEG articles, and that will work great.
Okay.
That's
And
handy.
that's the menu is on the bottom of the photo there.
Over here?
Sorry, your
We're not
arrow's
seeing your
pointing at,
cursor move
yeah, it's
through.
pointing at view.
Oh, is this not showing?
No, the cursor's pointing at view, it's just stuck there.
Oh, let me try to share my screen again.
Oh, okay,
No,
no,
got
yep.
it. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
And then you just got there
So
by going,
I
okay,
went to the filter,
No
neural
filter.
filters,
okay.
and this way I can make it really big. If I just need to
Got it.
double it, which usually is
Uh-huh.
most of the time, I can do that
Uh-huh.
straight from Lightroom.
Okay.
Lightroom, I just hit the super resolution,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see it running here on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's twice as big.
Okay. So that should give you enough to print or do whatever you need.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I thought it was a me problem.
No, that's a very common issue.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Thank you very much.
Very welcome. All right. Time's up. Great to see you all. Fun hanging out with you. As you have questions, you'll feel free to shoot me an email. Easy to get a hold of.
Great.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Bruce.